Hey everybody, let me show you what I got going on today. I got an Asus TUF Gaming A15. The model actually is FA507R. Problem with it, after diagnosis, is the keyboard is bad. The keyboard power button is bad. The keyboard has the power button embedded on it. It goes through the keyboard circuit to power it on and off, and it's been tested, and I tested the new keyboard already here externally. So diagnostic is done. Now to the repair. So we're gonna find, I have not done this computer before, so we're gonna just play it by ear. We're gonna have to pull the motherboard out. Then I believe there's a metal plate with plastic rivets. Those got to be popped out, and then we'll have the keyboard, which probably will also have plastic rivets, and then we'll have to pop that out as well. So let's focus a little bit more down here. And let's get started. So I already got the battery I had already taken out, because I did that to test. So let's go right along. Get rid of some of the, actually let me do take a couple pictures in case I get lost with a screw or anything like that, and then don't know where it goes. So good idea for you is take a couple pictures before you start of everything. That way if you need to refer back, it's right there. So I'm hoping I can pull this heatsink and everything all up together. We'll see. So LCD flex, fan power, got a little flex right here. Fan power. I'm not sure if this you know, that screw goes all the way through, but sometimes they do. That one, I think it doesn't, but either way. Got two SSDs. I don't think that goes through. Go with motherboard. Speaker. Got a flex there. This flex, this whole thing is going to have to come off. You can take it off from either side. Wireless. Got a keyboard flex down here. This keyboard flex down here is the backlights. Go through the keyboard, I mean through the motherboard screws. Got one there, one there. Not too many screws on the board. Yeah, luckily I think this whole thing's gonna come up one shot. We'll see. So as you start to loosen up, just keep your eye out and see what's holding. Alright, so we're all loose right here, not bad, time-wise. Alright, take a look underneath, make sure you don't got nothing else on there. Great, so that's good. That whole thing comes out just one shot. That's good news. So here we got this like a plastic shield. It's like an insulation, I guess, since you got metal here, you got the back of the board. Presuming that's why this is here. Let's do also. You can see that plate's got the plastic. It's not a plastic rivet. It's basically it's a piece of plastic goes through, and I guess they have some type of machine that just melts the head down. Basically, it creates a rivet pretty much. Probably much faster than screws, right? If the machine's doing it. This just has some double-sided tape, so just be cautious with it. So, we're going to put it back. No need to break it, rip it. And again, this is just here to insulate that metal against the board. Pretty much, that would be my guess. Be careful pulling it because it is easy to tear. You pull in the wrong direction, the wrong spot at the wrong time, or the right spot at the wrong time. Okay. Don't put that too far. You might forget to put it back in. It's actually happened. I'm not going to admit it's happened to me, but it may have happened to me. Alright, so these rivets, I'm going to use a blade and shave the tops off. See how this goes. On the MacBooks, you just yank the whole thing off, but here you don't want to yank too much because this is going to go back on. So you don't want to bend it or anything like that. So what I'm going to use, I got an X-Acto knife with a flat head, and I might as well get comfortable. And you might get the speed dial out. I mean the fast forward. Can you see there? Yeah, so let's take a look here if you can see that. Let's see how it goes. That just snaps that little head right off. Maybe we keep some of those and use it as our, to reapply it. We'll see. Yeah, because we're going to have to probably reapply some of that right on the top. So here I'm just going to just go at it, and you can fast forward. Just be cautious, number one, don't cut your finger off. Be careful that you're not pushing this and, drive into something else. We can see here that we have a little something. Let's take this off of here. This is, I don't know, a sensor. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure if that's going to come off with the board, or is it going to stand underneath? I'm not sure. I think it should just come right off. What is that? sure if it's underneath. Hard to say. Let's take a look. What's under there? Oh, that's the power lights. Yeah. So it's like the light board for the lights up the battery and all. The question is this going to come off? It's probably just adhered there. But yeah, it has to come off because the metal plate is underneath it. So you know what? I'm going to go around and then we'll see once the metal plate gets loose. Maybe it just comes up with it. I don't want to really pressure too hard because I can't really tell how it's adhered. I'm not going to save every little plastic, but we'll save a few. Yeah, it's going to take a while. Try a different way. Let me just see if one of these would make it easier. Not really. I do have a wider one. This is a fresh, brand new one, so it's sharp. Can we snip it with a wire cutter? I don't think it's got enough of a head on it. Let's try it. If not that one, maybe some of these. Oh yeah. Do that. You got one of these, you know, with a really flat wire cutters with a really flat side down here. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. That works much better. And here you could, you know, not press down too much. Kind of leave a little bit of that head. Leave a little bit of the tip out as much as possible. Okay, cool. So if we don't melt these tips, just a hot glue dab right there would kind of do probably the same result. Definitely much better. Some, if you can't get them, then I'll follow up back with the blade. Yeah, some areas you just can't get in there. Got a good portion of them. Eesh. We're gonna take the trackpad. At least this trackpad bracket, which is going on top Now be careful here, you got the screen right there. Probably gonna put a piece of paper or something there just to give it a little bit of protection. This cable, I gotta separate this cable from there. Because these rivets down here are underneath the bracket. But I tried these pliers. Sheesh. Or wire cutters, whatever you want to call them. Yeah. Start lifting and see what we got. As you start lifting, you'll start finding the areas that you missed. All these. Whoa. Wow. It has some big thick ones, and then it has just some skinny little tiny ones. So the big thick ones for sure, we're not getting them out of there. But there is some the little tiny ones. Sure, once all the others are out, you know, they could be worked with. Man, this thing is in there. Is there any screws holding this thing down? Nope. It's a matter of just finding a weak spot and then just trying to lift and then going through all the still attached rivets. Wow, this thing is pretty solid. These are the little tiny ones. These are just popping right off. They're just everywhere. So these little ones, you get the blade underneath and leverage it, head snaps right off. For the most part. It's a matter of getting some leverage somewhere, and then it'll start getting easier. Yeah, so this, yeah, that's going to come off with the plate, so I'm glad I didn't screw around with that too much. That little sensor there, the LED, looks like what that is. Yeah, I think this back area. Oh. So this hinge is on top of the bracket here, the backplate bracket. So I'm not saying that's the only thing holding it, but that's not going anywhere with that on there. So we're gonna open that hinge up, see what we get. Right, so you see there. See if we can get one of these corners up. And then I'm thinking of trying to get the back up first. Okay, we got some wiggle room now. Duh. So as you feel it, now you can easier spot the rivets that are holding you down. Like right there. A little more visibility. Since we disconnected that, let's do that. Separate that. LCD gives us a little better access. Once you get a piece up like this, then you can apply a little pressure and just snap up the weak ones. See right there. Alright, so we're pretty good so far. Couple here and there. One, another. Whoa. Broke the blade. But got plenty of blades, but pretty close. And there it went. Okay. So that piece, you can just leave it right on. It's going to come up with the metal. And it is the LED for the power button is right, not the power button. But basically these are the power lights. Battery charging on, I don't know what are the, maybe the hard drive. But basically there's 4 LEDs right there. So you don't have to mess with that at all. Glad I didn't mess with it too much. I did a little bit. And this looks all good. So now we got the keyboard, and then the keyboard also full of rivets. Now this one, yeah, this you can see some of them already came out. This one I'm gonna just push these off, so that way I don't cut too much of the head off, and hopefully I can use some of it. And that's kind of the equivalent with the Mac. Yeah, we're gonna do that. I'm thinking here the keyboard backlight, but I mean I have the new keyboard backlight anyways. So let's see if we can just push. Yeah. I mean, try them little by little. If you get maybe a big one, maybe you can clear it, but might be able to just get them to pop. Yeah, I mean, they're coming right off. All right. feel it too hard, go around. Always, you know, look for a weak spot. See, like that. So you just keep playing with it. So this is good because we got all the, you know, the little studs of the plastic here. They're kind of, they're up, so they should be able to go right into the holes, and that's going to help us out a little bit. So got our keyboard here. Also, this keyboard, we'll see, is going to have to fold a particular way. It's going to go up, over, going to fold there and come up and across. So I'm going to let that afterwards, see if we can get these in nice holes. So take your time here and see if you can get them in as best as possible, because this, if you don't get them in, your keyboard is not going to be flat. So go through, and if you find one that is not allowing you to put it all the way flat, then maybe you have to shave one off here or there. I'm going to put a towel underneath. Let me see if this will give me a little wiggle room, because I'm pressing it in, but it's hitting this mat here. So I don't know if the mat is the one that's holding it up. But it seems pretty good. I'm going to get a little heat. Just want to see how this. How well adhered this thing is. This thing is glued on here. Wow, pretty good. Yep. Nothing is on there. So yeah, if you're gonna purchase this, you're gonna purchase the backlight, because sometimes you can swap these backlights over. That's what I'm just giving a little check here. If you had to, you probably could swap it, but yeah, you'll need like a blade like this to separate it. Very carefully. Yeah, so the question, if we had to, could we? We probably could. I just want to see the finish of this compared to the other one. Okay, I just wanted to analyze that one that we moved. So I'm gonna get the soldering iron over here. To flatten out these tips. That's the only soldering iron that I have. As far as soldering iron, you could use anything. You don't really need a lot of heat. You don't need any type of quality, just enough heat to just melt the little tip of the plastic off. I'm gonna have to change this iron because this is a very fine one for soldering. We don't need anything fine, we just need to blunt this basically. Where are we at? An hour. Yeah, this is a job. So I'm going to try it with this tip here. If you can see that tip, but basically it's just a blunt tip to flatten it out. So the idea is to just flatten that sucker down. I don't know if this is going to be too hot. This is at 450 degrees. Let's see what happens. Whoa! That was quick. So what I did realize is you got to press down. Still leaves a little room. You gotta press down, hold it, let it dry, let it cool. I don't like this heat. See if I can bring this heat down a little bit. I don't remember how to do this. Okay, let's try this. 250. I mean, we don't need that much heat. I'd rather have it low heat and not have to rush so fast. So I dropped it down to 250. Temperature's dropping. And luckily my sinuses cleared up. I've been having a couple bad days here with sinuses and allergies. $250. Let's see what happens now with 250. Okay. Kind of sticks a little bit. That works. So a little press down and a little flatten out. And the temperature is good because it gives me a little time to play with it. Pretty good. 250. You try a different temperature, but that flattens it out. I can even go back and dabble with it, flattens it out. Mush it over to the side. So basically create like a little mushroom head. And keep it held down for it to dry. So, you know, if it's still, you know, melted, it's going to pop back up. Like, there you go. So melt it down, push it off to the side, let it go after a couple seconds. Once we have a few of them down, they're probably just going to stay down. Okay. Yeah, what I'm looking at here is are those the same? They actually yeah, they actually are. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do here, you're gonna have two options when you try this. You could do it with this with the metal plate and then flatten them out, but that's not gonna, you know, you're not gonna have a lot of plastic sticking up to flatten them down. So the question is gonna be, which way should you do it? Let's go something like that. There's the motherboard. Yeah, I mean, we gotta attach all this first. Let me see. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is do it like in 2 phases. I'm gonna attach. Yeah, I'm gonna attach most of these because the important part is more the keyboard itself to be firm, and then the other plate will push upon it. So rather than put the keyboard and the back plate and then melt the tips, but then those tips are going to be very small, or they're not going to extrude over there at all, and then it's going to be loose. It's going to be looser. Here, there's plenty that still comes out because the plate is not there. So it gives us a better way for them to attach. Now I have some that are really long, so what I'm going to do is some of the really long ones, leave a few out, and then either way the other one we can attach it on here with a little bit of hot glue, and the other one is just a plate. It's a full plate, and the board goes on top. So I'm not that worried about. The plate as much as I am that the keyboard itself, has a good attachment. From the factory, all these tips are very long, so you could put them all. You could put both and still have plenty of plastic, left over to flatten out the rivet. But once we took those heads out, that basically, cut it in half or more. So at least this way it's attached well. have a little, like a little bump here that I have a feeling there's something got stuck underneath. And I have to pop it up. I don't want to do it, but yeah, there's something there. I could tell that there's something holding it out. Get another blade. Yeah, there's no rivet there, but probably a piece of plastic stayed underneath and just lifting it up a little bit. And then you can see on the other side the keyboard is a little the key is a little slid in, so keep your eye on that. Give it an eye a once over and make sure that everything seems to be nice and flat. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pull these guys back up. Luckily, I hadn't finished doing all the it's way down here. It's not up there. It's way down here. Where is it? It's right there. Actually, there is. It seems like there is. Could it be? There is. There is a little stub there that there's no hole for. Where's the keyboard? Are you kidding me? Wow. Yeah, so there's a spot right there where there is, you know, one of the what you call it, one of the one of the rivets, but there's no hole on this side. So then that is just sticking up, and it's creating what I'm telling you is a bump. that was, who was going to figure that one out, you know? So we got a lift here, and see how I can get would have been very easy to get. I can't get that in there. Can't lift it high enough. Probably maybe. If I can get up high enough and get in there and just snap it. Bye-bye. So if you're doing this job, that's the most important step till now, is there's a rivet without a hole. Now, could that be another one somewhere else? I have not noticed that anywhere else. Let's look at the keyboard, because you could tell on this one when it was, you know, pressed in, you know, there was a little angling there. The keyboard was a little angled in, or the key. You know, they're not going to be, you know, perfect, but definitely that's the most important part right now, because we did get it out, but now our stubs, we got less clinging there, so we still got the two main ones up here. So let's see if we can get those really good. Got those two top ones now here. But what I'm gonna try to do is trying to get the tip in there though. There's really no plastic left. Well, let's see what happens if we try to can we melt some plastic on top? It looks like we can. Okay, great. So we could Lighting here is terrible. Use the same plastic to give it a little more support. So it kind of works because it's the same material. So at least, that helps as far as it just melding right along with itself. But with the other piece underneath. And then this is where the power button. So that's one of the reasons also I want to make sure I get a good. There's some big stubs there. But since the power button is right there, that's why I want to make sure that we got a good connection or good adherence there with the glue. It's too big. Trying to find these little tiny ones. Right there. That one right there. Yeah. Alright, so that was a big monkey wrench right there. Just missing that one screw. One rivet without a hole on this side. That made us lift this whole thing up. Threw us off a little bit. So can you imagine if you went through all this trouble, you did not check the keyboard, and then the keyboard has an issue? Remember, as I mentioned, always test it. You know, I did a quick video prior to this that we tested the keyboard. Now there's another tip that I might I'm not going to use another tip. This is the last one. At least for this little side here. Some of these rivets are pretty thick. Frankly, I'm just going to flatten the ball. So at least it's uniform. So at least here, almost all the rivets here do have, you know, are adhering. They almost all stick up a little bit. Whereas with the plate, you wouldn't be able to get them all with good adherence. So, you know, probably would have been a little looser. Now down here, I got these big ones. I don't know if I should tack these down. The plate is coming over here. Whoop. Careful, don't melt the ribbon. So the plate has, you know, all kinds of tacks all around. So yeah, I am going back to, this is the way that I would do it. I would tack this one down, and then we're going to worry about tacking the plate down, because you got all these up here. You have a whole row all the way down here. So this way, the keyboard is in place. tack down, and then the plate just comes over to give it a little extra tack. So these bottom ones I was debating whether to tack them or not, but I am. Now that plate probably going to give me a little hard time because some of these heads are kind of thick. We'll see how that goes. Here I'm just looking at, how even they are. They all look pretty good. The power button maybe is a little... Yeah, the power button is the only one that looks like a little crooked. But then maybe it's like that. Yeah. It's angled a little bit more on one side than the other. It's fine. I think we're pretty good. We're at an hour and a half. So the keyboard itself is pretty well tacked down. This little corner didn't have a little, doesn't have plastic, so let's give it hook it up there. We're good. So we're gonna have to put the backlight on. Let me see how. Okay, so the backlight. What I did do is I did not test this backlight. Yowza. That I did not do. I did not test this backlight, so that's not good. Take some of my advice, but enhance on my advice. As in, I told you to check the keyboard, but I missed the backlight myself. And no way it can be checked now. So I did verify the number, that it is RGB. And this is just going to stick right on there. Technically we could have done this, we could have put this on and then did the rivets. I'd rather not, just because of the heat and putting this there. The next thing you know, you burn something here. Just want to hold this from. So this, when you peel that plastic, this has like a double-sided tape on it, and that's what's going to hold it in place. Let me look at this one. Does it go all the way? Yep. It's all the way to all the way. So just measure it out, make sure you're nice and tight. Let's see how far up this is going to go. Give it a little more. A little more. Down the middle. So this has double-sided tape around, and in these, in between the keys. And you can see it would have been very difficult to adhere that keyboard as well with this on top of it. It'd still be moving around. This is got the double-sided tape, so this is not going anywhere. So far that looks good. And now we have to fold both of these things now. So we're going to see how this thing is folded. It says the line, you're going to fold it across that line. There it is right there. Yeah, it's going to tape right on top of it. It's got the tape right there. So we're going to pull that. Which way are we going? It's supposed to be... whoa, wait a second. it's gonna glue to the top of this, not to the bottom of this. Sheesh. That's a lot. That's how that's going to go. Folded it there, right along the line. I'm going to hold it in place. And now we're going to bring this one across. This is going to tape here. Let me make sure. And then we're going to fold over the top. We're going to fold over. Don't like how this moved out of place. I don't know why this needed. Is this going all the way? Actually, no. So this actually has two positions. This is going into the 5th position. Wow. So apparently this works for two different models, because you see the 5 and the 7. This one's folded right over the 5. So the tape, on this backlight seems to be backwards, right? It should have adhered, like this one here adhered to the bottom, to the back, which was what I was expecting, but apparently not. But we'll put a little tape on there. Actually, see if we can just remove that, this little bit, which is going to be giving us like I said, it's possible that this keyboard is for several models, and then just like this here has the tape for with the 7. So it's, you know, likely that this flex also, I mean, that could stay like that. It's not going to be a big deal. Just checking that length, make sure that Give that a little fold right on there. Little. So that's we're heading into the home stretch. Gonna clean some of these heads that are so thick. That so here, I mean, I don't want to yank the head off, but some of these got still a big mushroom, and that tells me that we're not going to be able to get that plate all the way in there. You got this mushroom head. So clean them up a little bit. I think they're still going to give us trouble getting them, pushing them in, but it's not going to matter so much because it's just going to create pressure on top anyways. So not that worried about it. So here I'm just grabbing the sides and kind of popping up the mushroom part, so that way the new ones, so it's more like just straight up, and we're able to slide the other one in without much resistance. Let's see what we get. Yeah, so here, it's not as important if we don't get the same, leveling out, because the keyboard is the one that's important for it to be level. So, like I said, I'm glad we did the rivets first on the keyboard, because here, if some of them don't go in all the way, as long as we just create that pressure and then we have the keyboard on top, we'll be fine. But here I am going to press and kind of get a better feel and verify if we got. Actually, that's interesting. See here, exactly, this plate does have that extra hole, whereas the keyboard did not. So what are we missing here? We got the flex coming out, the bottom flex. This is going to go over the top. I think we're fine. Here I think I am going to use a different tip on these big ones. Basically a pointy one that will kind of push in the center and hopefully expand the rivet outwards. So I have two different options. I'm going to use this one here, where you see it's not that pointy, it's kind of flattened out. This is another one. I'm looking for something thick, but that does have some type of a point to it. Now we're not going to need, where am I going here? You know, we're not going to need all of them to work, so long as we get a good solid few in there, we'll be perfectly fine. Yeah. So let's see, I'm going to start up here. There's so many up here. Let's see how this, whoa. No, I'm going to need these. This light is terrible. So let's see what happens right here. Yeah, that did not do anything. Yeah, no. Yeah, there's not enough plastic. There's not enough plastic to make that hold. I'm going to try the other one with the flat tip and see if we could kind of brush it off to the side. And then we got to remember that this is the palmrest, so you can't go too far in there either. If not, we'll do hot glue on this side. I will try to, you know, get a few of them. I mean, there's going to be a couple that we could flatten out, like probably this one right here. You know, there's a few that we can get. Yeah, if I push to this, yeah, this one works. Flatten it out, push to one side, it's fine. Yeah, with a little kind of blunt flat tip, just basically flatten it off, push it over to one side a little bit. So, you know, there's not enough material, let's say, for the whole head, but if we push it off to one side, then yeah, we'll grab a little bit. Enough. You know, to hold it in place. Not every one, but there's plenty. You know, if we grab half of them, more than enough. Remember, we already got the keyboard attached nicely, so we're fine. Now, these here, we got no material. We could, you know, throw some plastic up here, but I'm gonna do the ones that I can first, and then throw a little plastico up here. So I got a few there. Here, there's some big giant ones. This down here is a tough one. There's a lot of pressure on the metal there, pushing it up. If there, maybe there's something underneath. Ooh, this one's way. See if I can do one of these with some extra. Yeah, we got it. Some extra plastico. This one needs a lot of plastic. would be great if I just had a basically like some solder, plastic solder that we could just put on top. That'd be great. Plastic solder. That would actually do it. Yep. Couple more. So this is the kind of job, I mean, this job, the financial on this is terrible because I did not calculate this. This was going to be a board level repair and then turned into this. But I mean, it's not going to be a loss, but it's going to be like a break even. Just because, I mean, generally when I give an estimate, I don't like, you know, it's very rare that I'm going to wind up changing it, even if I have to eat some of it. Because I just, you know, I just don't like that. Well, you know, it's something else, it's more. So, you know, the board level repair. I mean, initially, I mean, I left it at the same cost. Initially, it would have been, I would have estimated probably the same cost, but in this case, since, you know, I did not diagnose the initial problem, I had, you know, I had to pay the board technician for that initial diagnostic, basically. So, granted, it was not a full board repair, but it was a, you know, the board diagnostic. So there was a cost there. And then this board, this keyboard, there was only one available locally. Everything was China. Computer was here already. I've had it for about a week. So that was going to throw everything way off as well. So I wind up paying way more for the local one just to get it done. And that's how business goes sometimes. You know, you can't just win them all. Sometimes you take a little bit of a hit, but just get it done. You know. But one more here, I think that's gonna wrap it up. I mean, this is way, you know, better than necessary as far as the attachment. This is okay. So across the bottom, solid. Got one right there that I'm gonna get, especially because you're in right smack dab in the middle. I don't want to hear it. Oh, really? Like that one in the middle is going to give me a hard time. Yep. That's how it goes. I want to grab this with my fingers. The smack dab in the middle is always going to give you a hard time. I know I keep saying this is the last one, but you want to get one little corner here. There. So this flattened out point is pretty good. All right, so I'm going to do a couple more up here. The bottom I think is pretty solid. The top I don't really have too many. Maybe I could, let's see, with this flat one. Flat one you can get away with a little bit. Just do a couple big ones here. That one. Would like a couple solid ones up here. Actually, we got the whole yeah, we're fine because here we got these screws. Yeah, we're gonna have The hinges go on top of there, brackets over here. All right, so we're going to reassemble. And we're going to test my memory. And if not, we got pictures. But we do remember that this was one of the first things we took out. Hours and 15. Wow, it's gonna be like a 3-hour job. And I really forgot. I believe it's gonna be these 3. I'll have to verify them. There's 3 screws. There's 5, but 2 are probably gonna be the motherboard. So this here, there's probably sometimes a little bit of an alignment. Just take a look if there is any alignment and just try to get it as a line that looks okay. That looks okay. A little over to one side. And that looks pretty good. What else would we have after that? Usually when you disassemble, you want to keep everything in the same place. Not like I did here. I got things scattered all over the place. So the next thing you know, if you do that, you wind up leaving something behind. You don't want to do that. Were there any screws? That's going to go there. That's going to go there. Boom. What do I got? That's going with the board. That's going with the board. Fan. Not fully tightened all the way, just make sure it fits those two. Should be just those two. Yep, should be those two. Now we remember our insulator. That's interesting because there's two holes there. Is there screws there, or is that just two? I think they're just holes. I mean, that looks like that was that. Little fin came off of this edge. This is just like a little, like a topper. It has a little double-sided tape, kind of like a little finishing. I don't know. But it does go right here on this end. Can we squeeze it in? Okay, it's good. Look at a little end cap, piece of copper, just popped off. I think it's more aesthetic than anything, but see if we can get it back in. Let me get it back in. Oh, come on, people. Sometimes there's little things like this that, you know, I mean, they're not important, but they just throw a little curveball. So it's up to you if you want to just say screw it. But if you're really top notch, you'll try to get it back in there. At least give it a shot. It's got a little double-sided tape right here, but I mean, it's like not enough to really keep it in place. And this is supposed to kind of clip into there. But I mean, if it popped out without even touching it, you know, it wasn't clipped in there too good to begin with. Dang. I mean, it's in place. Yeah. Like I said, like a little end cap. Doesn't really have a purpose. Alright, but it's in. Missing something here. Remember this going all the way through there. I don't remember. Yeah, let me see the speaker cable. Yeah, I'm gonna put this in first, speaker cable afterwards. Oh, so actually the power the fan powers came off together, so you don't have to disconnect those. So let's see if we can get this in here as easy as it came out. So remember, it has to go in one side first. Do we have anything underneath there? I don't think so. I think that was pretty much it. Got that. We got that. Something underneath there that's not letting it drop. We got that, we got that, we got this one. Alright, so let's take a look here. Remember, these have to kind of like slide into place sometimes. And we have to make sure we don't have anything underneath holding it out of place. Should I really? Yeah, this little speaker here probably giving us a little bit. No problem there. Let's see. So something there. There you go. So don't force it. You want to make sure this is gonna, it's gonna align. The alignment is gonna tell you if it's in place. And you're gonna feel it like snap, like it did right there. So that looks good. Everything's aligned. That's aligned. The only thing that saved, well, the one thing that saved the day is that this all came out together. If not, this would be a much longer job, and yeah, would not have been good as far as time and return. And then now we'll put this guy back. Here, well, doesn't really matter. Cable probably did run underneath the board. Let's actually take a look. Yeah, it run underneath all that, but not an important cable, so could just run right along that edge. But pretty sure it was, yeah. Yeah. This ran right underneath all that. Underneath that, it did run underneath all that. That side of that screw. Where did you go? The heck did this thing go? It went all the way. Well, you don't gotta go that far. So I'm gonna run you through here, just because I don't want you to go all the way up there. Run you right through there. I don't want you going all the way up to the middle of the board. Go right there, there. And this one, same thing. And then go right through there. Through there. And here you're gonna go right there. Got a little lift here, but probably because of all the little back plate I remember here in the center. That back plate was a little lifted right there. So we're fine with that. The most important part. Keyboard. Trackpad. Make sure that when you putting these screws in, make sure that they, kind of, there's no gap. Should be, it should land flat onto the nut. That way there's not something underneath, but it should hit nice and flat. And all of those are good. Yeah, the speaker cable I did not run exactly where it was running, but that is interesting. Is that, not sure, is that the speaker? Yeah, the speaker's got two. Is it a woofer? I don't know where it is. I don't know. Got two cables running to that. Okay. Right, left, and then the other one's coming over here. I was like, what? Got the Wi-Fi card here. Generally, what I would on these on a build like this, I would test it before. I'm giving advice, but I'm not following my advice. But once you can just put it a little bit together, should be able to just give it a test run, make sure everything's fine. You don't need the Wi-Fi card to test it, things like that. So yeah, I would get it to a testing point as soon as possible. Here I gotta look at which is the screw. Which one of the two is it? On the motherboard should be the bottom one there. Correct. Which is basically that one. Usually they have like a little triangle. Maybe it's underneath the sticker. But in this case, since we are already all the way here, let's just connect it, because otherwise I can't connect this. What else is left? The two SSDs. That's pretty much it, but I'm going to test it without the SSDs. The backlight. And let's give it a try. Let's bring over the power. I'm not going to put the battery in for now. Just want to get it up and running. This connector there scared me. That middle connector there sometimes doesn't work. I didn't connect the little light back here. I was looking for that little center diode light, which was not turning on. Remember, in the back there's a little flex back there which is not connected. So here it's turning on. The last time I turned it on, I did a couple restarts. I'm guessing because of the BIOS. It took a while, started, turned off, started again. Did it a couple times. Actually, it took a while to actually get to the post menu. Okay, so there you go. We're at the post menu, so you can see the power button's lit. Keyboard backlight is RGB, so you see it going. I don't know if you could tell, but you see it there going different colors. Those fans don't turn on. It takes a while for those fans to turn on. Trackpad, so we'll just shut it down and then So that's almost a wrap. I'm gonna finish it up. But basically, you could cut out there if you're watching. Oh my God, 2 hours and 45 minutes. We forgot this little motherboard light, which is woo. So we gotta check these out. These fans, I have not seen these fans come on yet. Put these SSDs back in. And you know what? Sticking to the bottom. That's it, battery. Oh, these two SSDs, I don't know if they're... Are they RAID? I don't know. Maybe they're RAID, maybe they're just storage and OS. I don't know. Does it matter? No. Three screws for the battery. And that's a wrap. No screws left, nothing else. Back cover. That's pretty much it. We're gonna crank it up again. I'm not gonna put the back cover because I want to see these fans spin. I don't need this. Let's see if we got some battery. We do. And there you see the little, that center light. And it's going to do a couple restarts. I'm going to screw it in, but just to place it there so it could sit down properly. So what do we got there? We got battery charging, hard drive, I guess power, I don't know, to power on, and airplane mode. Okay. And there it is. Hard drive light's going. Power light is on. And it's a wrap. So we're going to wrap it up right there. Woo! That was almost 3 hours. Time flies when you're having fun. So can you change the keyboard on this device? Yeah, took a little work here and there. You could change the keyboard. If you can find a palm rest, you can do that. You'll save yourself that time of pulling the keyboard off and you know, putting the other one on. Yeah, it will be faster. You have to move over the speakers, you'll have to move over the trackpad, but yeah, it probably would be a faster job. Either way, depending on what parts are available for you, depending on your budget, that's which way you want to go. And that's what's going on tonight at PC 911.